Well, Cliff, I can't help but notice there's something different about you. What am I missing here?
Well, um, you know, I did a thing, and I kind of got a little issue. Can we be honest with each other for just a second?
Well, I mean, it's better than the usual you lie to me first and then tell me the truth afterwards. Yeah, let's try the straightforward approach.
Um, my wife says I'm going through a midlife crisis. I don't believe that's the case.
Okay, so your super astute, wonderful wife, Jamie, has made an observation that you're going through a midlife crisis, and
She's making
you think that she's wrong.
I'm not saying necessarily she's wrong, but I'm definitely saying she's making accusations that I don't necessarily side on the agreements with.
Okay, so you know what I always say, Cliff? Facts over feelings.
Yes, yes.
So I would like to either support you or support Jamie in this thing. So this is a little known fact. Um, in order for something to be considered a midlife crisis, there has to be three examples of midlife crisiness uh,
I
for
like
it to
that.
be official. Okay, so what's the first thing that she is assuming is related to your midlife crisis?
So number one is I shaved my facial hair off this weekend.
Okay. So for those of you that don't know, also for those of you who are listening and not watching this episode, Cliff has had a beard, a full beard, cheeks and all, since he was 9 years old, and he just shaved the thing off. I actually had a hard time telling because he's so furry that I'm pretty sure that his 5 o'clock shadow also looks like a beard, but he is beardless as of right now, and I would say that I think he looks a little bit younger.
It's definitely there's definitely it's probably a little bit more stubble. This is maybe a day did it, but this is about a day, maybe 2 days at the most too. So there is a little bit of stubble there, but it's pretty close. I did it on a zero guard. Um, I don't know. She's claiming that, so I don't necessarily agree with that. Although to be fair, I've had the beard and everything for probably 8 years. She didn't want me to grow it out at first because she didn't like facial hair. Then I got it. She liked it, so I kept it.
She said, "Don't get rid of it." You really do look younger.
I
I'm
appreciate
not joking. Like literally, you look like you're in your 30s versus your 40s. I mean, you've always looked young, anyways. But I think you look a little younger with no beard. So it's kind of like a new, refreshed Cliff here. So I kind of like that. Anything else that you think would qualify as a midlife crisis?
Well, the other thing that she's throwing in there is because I've had the same haircut for 25, 30 years.
Yeah,
I,
you're not deviating on the old haircut, are you? And you
yeah,
put this. I also would gather that you put the same product in your hair every day.
no, it's I really don't use. There's a lot of people who say that I really don't use any product.
You look like you have product in there. That's interesting.
Um, so I'm thinking about growing my hair out, just letting it kind of grow out, uh,
Okay.
just kind of see what happens. Um, yeah, so I'm going to do that. Now let's also understand that I'm not growing it out like Eddie Van Halen or David Lee Roth kind of.
Uh, just so you know, Eddie Van Halen's dead. He doesn't have a lot of hair growth going on right now.
That your hair grows when you die.
No, what happens is the rest of you shrinks and it makes your hair look longer, your fingernails, all that stuff. You don't know enough about dead
Either
things.
way, I'm not going to look like him, Bon Jovi, any of the.
Bon Jovi's had short hair since 1995. Okay, keep
I'm not
going.
going. I'm not going with any of those. I'm not
Yeah.
Billy Ray Cyrus where I grow it out, party in the back. Although in my day, I did have a wicked mullet.
I
Um,
could see that.
yeah, all the girls like to brush my hair when because it was curly.
All right. Okay. So here's my take on this. I don't know what you think, but I believe that the hair and the lack of beard, that all counts as one midlife crisis symptom. And I just classified that all under grooming. So that's one thing. You still have two left until it's a midlife crisis. Does she have anything else to go off of?
No, no, I don't. No, I think
Oh,
it's.
let me help her out.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just curious, Cliff. What's your regular daily driver car?
Well, I have a summer and I have a every other season car.
Let's go with the summer one.
1990 Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah, what kind of roof does that? The soft top or the hard top or what is that?
No top.
Oh, there's no top, and then more often than not, are the doors on or off that thing?
I don't have the doors anymore. I sold them with the top.
Okay, so there's no doors, no top. It's essentially like a naked Jeep.
That's correct.
And when you do decide to sell this midlife crisis vehicle, what's the age of the person that's going to buy it from you?
Yeah, probably the 20s.
Did you say 20 or 19?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a teenager slash 20 car. They definitely cannot legally drink yet, but they're buying your Jeep for sure. So that's number two. So we
Okay.
only need one more thing to qualify as a midlife crisis.
I
If
don't.
only there was a thing that men do when they're going through their midlife crisis, and you're not trading Jamie in for a younger model. That's a terrible idea.
That would never happen.
But I do think that there's a thing that you've done in the past year that qualifies as a midlife crisis. Let's say that you were like, you're going to just do something different, and it's not grooming, but it's another way to affect the human body. Let's say that you were to attach body art to yourself in the form of a tattoo. How old were you when you got your first tattoo?
I was 46,
And how old are you right now?
47.
Oh, so we shave our beard, we grow our hair out. One, we drive a vehicle that really should only be driven by a 19 or 20-year-old, and we've got tattoos now when we never had them in our entire life. Yeah, hold on. Let me consult the panel. Yeah, it's official, Cliff. You are, in fact, going through a midlife crisis.
Um, I want to jump right into today's topic because I disagree with this.
And for those of you listening at home, we call this deflection. So what's our topic today, Cliff?
No grounds for denials on all this. My topic today is something that you and I have been talking about a lot recently. I've actually been talking about it with a lot of dealers and managers, and we kind of discussed it on a recent Parts Hold episode. But it kind of revolves around reinvention, and that's kind of where we were talking about it. But I want to talk about what are some characteristics of highly effective parts counter people.
Okay, so you get a list. How many things on the list?
5 things that I have seen in my career and continue to see that are characteristics that all of these individuals possess normally. However, I will say this, that if you don't possess one or more of them, that doesn't make you a terrible human being. I would just say work on these items.
A terrible human being. Like it goes beyond a worker. Like if you don't possess all 5 of these things, you're terrible. Okay, that's good. So the other thing, I really like about this is that you've been doing a series. So we had like the 5 characteristics of the best parts managers. Didn't we also have like 5 kisses of death, or like the 5 worst things that a parts manager could do? But we've really started to transition now into the parts employees, and now we're talking about countermen this time. And I think that this is probably going to be a great list because at the end of the day, the counter people are the future parts managers,
Right.
and thinking about maybe some of these characteristics that Cliff's going to go off. By the way, I don't know what the characteristics are, so this is me kind of flying in blind, so we'll see how all this goes. And you seem a little tense, Cliff. Do you want me to tell you like a Michael Jackson joke before we go on?
You can. I would love that, but not the ones that you've told off air.
Okay, so let's just keep everyone wondering. All right, so continue on with your list. I think that was enough.
Great. Number 1 is highly effective counter people are all very detail oriented. They're completely detail oriented individuals. So when I think about that, I think about the information that they're gathering and the questions that they're asking.
Oh, okay. So who are they asking the questions to?
Well, we could talk about anyone that's coming to the counter, whether it be a retail customer, a wholesale customer, a internal customer, a mechanic, anything of that nature. These individuals uh, are really, really detailed when they're gathering information. They're not missing out on an opportunity to get a VIN number, to get a part number off of the part, to ask more questions about where that part is. They don't let things go.
Okay, so they're doing all the detective work.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe even call them investigators.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I definitely can think of some super inquisitive counter people that I've experienced in my past. That's good. So characteristic number one, not in any order, then I'm going to assume is that they're super detail oriented. Also, probably keep the shelves pretty clean in the parts room, right?
Yeah, so that would lead me straight into number two. Number two is every highly effective parts counter person that I've been around has just a little bit of OCD to They don't want the
Just a little bit, not too much.
yeah, they don't want their computer messed with. They don't want their screensaver changed. They don't want their mouse moved. They don't touch my stapler. Don't move the tape gun. I don't a particular pin.
Could you imagine if they had to tap the phone 30 times before they could answer it?
My gosh, yeah. It's those individuals that I've experienced in my
Parts
career.
hold.
Yeah, it's those individuals that I've experienced in my parts career that were super OCD about where parts were at, how they were put out, where the labels were turned. I mean, I've had some guys that wanted, like it was like we were ending the night at a grocery store and we were blocking the shelves and turning labels around. Like these individuals they only use a particular pen. They only want a particular Sharpie and style of it. Like they're very OCD individuals.
Yeah, the thing I remember about some of the most OCD parts people is like, do not mess with their Post-it notes that are attached to their screen.
Yes, don't mess with the post-it notes. I know I've shared the story about this individual that was a counter person years ago, 20 plus years ago now. But he was super big influence on my life. But he had carried a notepad in his back pocket, and I don't know if you remember those, but they had
The really little ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the spiral on the top of them.
He would slide that in his pocket, and he carried a box. And so whenever anything took place throughout the day, he wrote it down. So again, talking about the detail, he wrote everything down. And then he was so OCD about it, he put it into this little box. He could go back months, weeks. I don't know, maybe he could have gone back years, who knows? But he always had those notes, and he could dig those notes out at any moment.
Oh, that's great. You know who else used to do that? My dad. The funniest thing, he had a pocket protector out, and the notebook went behind the pocket protector, and then the pens and pencils went in the front. And he also, in addition to having the pencils and pens in the pocket protector, he always had one pencil with a little eraser on it that he would sharpen it down to where it would fit into the spiral part of the book. And like I always remember him doing that and thinking like when he would do that with the pencil, like it would take him 5, 6, 7 minutes to like sharpen that stupid thing down. We actually had, how there was the school pencil sharpeners. We had one of those. We had one of those in my house because he sharpened the pencil so much. It never occurred to me until I was way older and out of the house and everything like that. Like what he really should have done is gone to a golf course and stolen a bunch of the little pencils from the golf course. But nope, he would do a full size pencil, wind that thing down halfway, and then stuff it right in the little notebook. But he's super detail oriented too. It's funny. He could have been a good parts counter person, but he was a machinist actually by trade. He worked for a company that built pavers, the paved roads and stuff like that. And then his responsibility was to, like, in the finishing area after they got painted, he made sure all the decals went on the right way and everything like that. So he always joked that he got paid to put stickers on things.
Oh, that's hilarious!
Yeah, I thought that was a great job.
I can almost smell the shavings from a pencil right now that you described that from the old school.
Yeah, and then like you can hear the sound of the turning.
Yeah, I can all that in my mind.
That's so funny.
Great. All right, let's move on to number 3.
Number 3 is they are always a student. They're always studying. They're always taking the manufacturer's classes. They're always finding out stuff on new models, finding out new part numbers, finding out new trends. Like they are always a student.
Yeah, my favorite parts counter people are like telling the techs about the bulletins before the techs know about them.
Oh, that one's great. I was just at a store recently and that very same thing happened. They had pulled a new TSB out and gave it to the tech for something they were coming to the counter to order. I also love these guys when they're students because they're the ones going on Facebook and finding new groups. They're typically, building these groups or going to car shows. Like they're just students of parts and everything about it. So I find
how many Facebook parts groups are you part of?
Just one, the only one I need to be part of.
Oh, I'm part of 2.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm part of the Parts Hold Facebook group, but there's also one. It's like I love the name of it. It's called Parts Departments Where the Magic Happens.
Oh, I love that. I need to get better at Facebook while we're talking about student. We talked about it just a little bit ago that if you aren't doing all these things, it doesn't mean that you can't be doing all these things. And I would love to be a better student of all things automotive.
Yeah, I mean, like I've learned, I would say that over the last year, I've tried to get comfortable with Instagram, which was never my jam, TikTok, like all that stuff, only because I know that that's where a lot of our clients live. So, we can be examples of that between the two of us, right?
Yeah, for sure. I need to get on the old Instagram. I haven't done that.
It's on the interweb, Clifton.
Yeah, I haven't jumped on the bandwagon there, the old www.instagram.com.
Yeah, I don't even know if anybody uses www. Anymore.
No, but can't let it go yet.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so number 3 is they're always a student. What else you got on there?
Yep. Number 4, and this is probably one of my favorite ones. These next 2 are my favorite, but number 4 is they are really, really effective communicators.
So since these last 2 are your favorite, should we have counted this down backwards? Should we have gone like 5, 4, 3, and then this is like the second greatest trade of parts counter people?
I didn't put them in any order in that sense, but I just love really good, effective communicators. And I don't even mean like, someone that's got a really beautiful voice that can talk to a large group of people, but really, really good counter people. One of the characteristics that stands out in all the ones that I've ever known can effectively communicate situations where a part isn't readily available and it's on back order or it's just not available locally. They're really good at communicating with their counterparts, whether it be a sales department or specifically probably more closely would be a service department. But there's a lot of counter people that are spending time in the service drive that I've gone to recently where they're communicating to the advisors what special orders have arrived and what hasn't arrived, or if something has been delayed in shipping. They're using text features within the DMS. Like they're just really good, effective communicators. I've even seen, notes. Most recently saw someone using a pigeon, which I thought was a great way to communicate.
It's in the bird?
Yeah. I was just saying, if you're paying attention, just send it.
That's ridiculous.
But if you think about it, like it's just the effective communication. And a lot of times in a store, side note, a lot of times, what's the worst thing that happens in a store is terrible communication. And so a lot of times these counter people are bridging that gap.
That's a great way to put it. Cool. I dig that. Also, I would say too that kind of along that communication line, you ever see that where the counter people actually have really good relationships with the other parts counter people from around the town?
Yes.
They seem like they're homies almost.
Yep. Absolutely love it. I could give tons of stories of that, but I love the fact when somebody's able to call not only their own brand, but other brands and have a really good connection with those individuals where they can call and get some information, maybe on a used car, or just get a little help on something. They're just good, strong communicators, and I love it.
That's great. Yeah, I love it. It's I also am a huge fan of communication just in general. So, all right, well, drum roll, please. What's your last characteristic?
My last characteristic is of highly effective and really, really good counter people is they're always a team player. I think that they understand more than anything that no one has to lose for everyone to win. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, they're the counter people that are going out and pushing in cars with technicians that are down, and they're helping push in cars. I've seen recently where it's been a little bit of time, but a counter person was walking through the service department and saw where some cars needed to be moved, and got in a car, jumped
And
in
just
there,
hopped in a car and moved it.
and started moving it. Like, just helped out. They're always seeking to find the part. They're going the extra mile because they're a team player and they want to get the car and the customer taken care of. Like, jumping in a car and going to pick parts up or deliver them. They're just always.
Or strap their boots on when it's time for that Sunday inventory and stuff like that too. You ever notice that? It's like they just know
Yeah.
it's part of the job, so they come in ready to go. When a lot of people are complaining, "Oh, I got to do this on a Sunday," and everybody else is like, "Nope, this is a thing we do, and let's just get it done."
Yeah, and it's funny to me. I think there's a direct correlation with people who have a really positive attitude and a really good outlook on life and being really, really good team players. They're not asking uh, for extra pay or extra compensation or time off or whatever. They're just willing to jump in there and do whatever it takes to get things done. I think that's a piece of the puzzle that oftentimes I missed in my career at times, and I'm sure possibly you maybe missed it at times in your career. But those people that brought me into the team and into the fold, like, you just don't forget those people.
Yeah, I think that's. It's funny that you say it's like the team player, but I think that maybe that's one, and then 1A is that attitude that you talked about, like an infectious positive attitude, and everyone's like, oh, parts people don't have positive attitudes. That's not true. I've seen many people that where the parts department or the counter people actually kind of carry the mood of everybody, and it's like it's kind of the cool place to be sometimes when a tech comes into the parts room. Like, you see those people. Not everybody's a bump on a log for sure.
I took a picture and I think I deleted it because I sent it to the director of the organization. But I took a picture the other day of some techs at the end of the day. It wasn't during working hours. Like, it was the end of the day, and the parts department hadn't closed up necessarily, but they were just sitting there and they were actually discussing the game that was coming up. But they were just sitting there, they're talking, and two technicians and two or three counter people from parts. But man, it's just that's a great. We could make that 6. Like, I mean, that'd be an
Yeah.
easy one to make 6. A positive attitude, but
Let's keep it part of the team player though. I understand what you're doing.
that team player thing. It translates into a lot of different things in life, and usually you would find that these people that tend to have that team player attitude, it translates into other areas of their life.
For sure. That's really good. Okay, cool. Well, recap that list one more time.
Great. Number 1 is they are detail oriented, completely detail oriented. Number 2 is they are just a little OCD. Number 3 is they are always students of the game. Number 4 is they are great communicators. And number 5 is they are excellent team players.
That's a solid list, my friend.
Awesome.
As usual, good job, great insight, and I hope if you're listening to this and you work the counter and you're like, I probably could do better at that, just give it a shot and see what happens. I think that you'll be really, really happy with the results. So that's good stuff. I hope that gives you a little bit of momentum kind of going through. Obviously it's Wednesday. There's still 2 days left in the week to make it great. And we will look forward to seeing you next time on Parts Hold.
Here to fill the order.